How did one store on the verge of closing help a business owner redefine true success? Discover the amazing story of how the unspoken good deeds of an ordinary employee not only saved a retail outlet, but changed the life of an entire neighborhood. Precision and efficiency. That's what Robert Fisher lived by when he ran his Homestyle Essentials chain of stores. These words became his personal mantra, his guiding star in the world of business. In his 45S, he turned the humble home improvement store his mother had once founded into a thriving chain of 40 locations across the country. Every morning, he immersed himself in store analytics, meticulously studying numbers and charts, the data-driven way he turned the company into a successful business. But Store No. 27 in Detroit, it haunted Robert, haunting him even in his nightly musings. On paper, the store was barely making ends meet. Sales consistently fell short of the plan by 20%, and by all the canons of business, it should have been closed months ago. But something unusual was happening on social media. Locals were not stingy with their praise, calling the store the heart of the neighborhood and a place with soul. This gap between the numbers and people's feedback kept Robert on his toes. Late one night, while browsing through customer comments, he came across a review that made him swoon. "When our family lost everything in a fire, Homestyle gave us more than just merchandise. It gave us hope." Accompanying the review was a photo of a gray-haired employee named Ben Parker, who, from the description, went far beyond his job description to help the family start their lives over. Robert realized, to make sense of what was going on, he needed to see for himself. With the help of a professional makeup artist, he transformed himself into James Turner, a middle-aged man determined to start his career with a clean slate. His always smooth-shaven face was now adorned with a neat beard, his dark blonde hair was touched with gray at the temples, and his brown eyes were blue thanks to contact lenses. Even his own mother wouldn't have recognized him. Stepping into Store 27 on his first day of work as a new salesman, Robert immediately sensed that everything was different. Although the layout was up to company standards, there was something special about the atmosphere. The aisles were kept in perfect order, but there were personal touches everywhere. Handwritten notes with tips on home renovations, creatively designed display cases with budget-friendly interior renovations, and a bulletin board full of local event posters. Ben Parker, the store manager, was not at all what Robert had envisioned. A man in his 50s, with kind eyes and hands calloused from work, he held himself with quiet dignity. He knew every regular customer by name, and it was as if he could sense who needed help and when. The first week of business opened Robert's eyes. Every Saturday, Ben came in 2 hours before opening to teach free home repair workshops. These weren't just basic lessons. The classes were carefully designed to help people on a tight budget keep their homes in order. "Knowledge shouldn't cost money," Ben said, showing single moms how to fix a leaky faucet or teaching elderly residents how to insulate windows. The real revelation awaited Robert after the store closed. One evening, while helping with the closing, he overheard Ben on the phone. "Mrs. Williams, don't even think about leaving the house today. I'll drop off the bathroom remodeling supplies myself, and I'll bring the tools to fix up your shower." Robert learned about Second Chance Saturdays later that week. Behind the name was Ben's Quiet Initiative, a program to recruit and train former prisoners who were having trouble finding work. Among them was Marcus, whose story was a living example of transformation. In 2 years, he'd grown from rookie to department head. "You know," Marcus shared with Robert over lunch, and a spark of gratitude flashed in his eyes. "When the whole world turned its back on me, Ben saw the man in me. He didn't just teach me how to fix things, he helped me put my own life back together." The true greatness of Ben's soul was revealed when the elements hit Detroit. When a local shelter flooded, Ben was not left behind. He assembled a team of volunteers, many of whom had once needed help themselves, and took on the job. Using his employee discount, he secured materials at a minimal cost. But most importantly, he didn't just fix the building. He passed on his knowledge to the shelter workers, equipping them to face future adversity. All weekend long, he taught them how to protect their home from the vagaries of nature. Robert listened to Ben's conversation with the corporate recruiter with bated breath. A large chain of stores was trying to lure him away, offering him a double salary and an impressive benefits package. But Ben only shook his head, his voice sounding soft but confident. "I appreciate the offer. I really am. But my place is here. This store is more than just a retail outlet. It's where people find hope, a new beginning, and you can't put a price on that." A notebook neatly labeled emergency fund was another startling discovery for Robert. In it, Ben kept a meticulous record of the money he set aside each month from his modest paycheck. These funds discreetly found their way to those in desperate straits: a family who had lost all their possessions in a fire, an elderly couple forced to choose between necessary repairs and life-saving medications, a single mother trying to make a home safe for a special needs child. This help Ben never mentioned, never sought recognition or a return on what he spent. He just did what he thought was right. After 3 weeks of undercover work, Robert realized it was time for the truth. He called a morning meeting before the store opened. Standing in front of the employees, he slowly removed his false beard, took out his colored lenses, and introduced himself by his real name. A wave of surprised exclamations and whispers swept through the hall. Ben, who was just laying out the materials for his regular Saturday workshop, froze in place, his hands still holding the instruction folder. "I came here to see why this store was special." Robert paused, dealing with an unexpected lump in his throat. "And I found something much more than that, the very essence of what home-style essentials should be. Not just a home improvement store, but a place where a real community is built, where everyone can find support and understanding." He then announced an impending change that was set to transform the way the entire chain operates. Ben becomes Director of Community Engagement, with the authority and resources to implement his unique programs across the entire store chain. His salary doubles, though he himself firmly insisted that he would continue to run the Detroit store part-time. The store had become a second home to him, and he had no intention of leaving it. Robert went on to announce sweeping changes that would transform the entire company. Each store would have its own community fund. The company would double every dollar contributed by employees. These funds would go toward helping customers in critical situations and supporting local initiatives. The Second Chance program will go national. Ben will lead the development of a training system for formerly incarcerated individuals seeking their way back into society. Free weekend workshops will appear in every store to share practical skills with those in particular need. Robert introduced the Parker Principle, a revolutionary company policy. Now store managers could make decisions based not just on profit, but on the benefit to society. Each newcomer would be given an internship at store number 27 to see firsthand how commercial success and social responsibility come together. After these announcements, Ben told his story for the first time. 20 years ago, he himself was on the brink of poverty. Then the owner of a small hardware store gave him a helping hand, giving him a job and teaching him a trade. "He showed me that a business can be both successful and humane at the same time." Ben's voice shook with excitement. "I just wanted to pass that lesson on." The results of the transformation have exceeded expectations. The company's profits grew by a quarter in a year, customers became more loyal, and the community actively supported the stores. The Second Chance program helped 200 ex-convicts find jobs, and nearly 90% of them stayed with the company. Customer satisfaction reached record levels, and employee turnover was minimized. 2 years later, Robert stepped through the threshold of store hash 27 again, now unmasked. The store was bustling with life, but retained its special atmosphere. Ben was just showing the young single father how to make the apartment child-safe. On the bulletin board, success stories from second chance participants were juxtaposed with thank you notes from families whose homes and lives had been changed by the store's programs. Looking back, Robert realized his mother didn't just dream of a home improvement store. She wanted to create a place where a better community was being built, one home at a time. Thanks to Ben, that dream was finally being realized. As Ben liked to repeat in his workshops, a home becomes a cozy place when it's built with care, and a business becomes a blessing when conducted with heart. This story is about how 3 weeks undercover revealed the true purpose of business, and how one person's dedication can transform an entire company. Sometimes the greatest discoveries in business come not from spreadsheets and strategies, but from the simple desire to make other people's lives better. If you were moved by this story of compassion and community, subscribe to our channel. Here you will find more stories of people who are changing the world through their good deeds. See you soon.